My first question, if I may, you spoke about changing the narrative about the Bangladesh's garment industry in the past. What did you mean by that? How do you change it?
Well, I propose to change it by being able to offer complete transparency. And you see, most of the times what happens is the manufacturers end up being defensive. I really think it's time for all of us to have a collaborative approach, all stakeholders, including workers, workers' representatives, and of course owners, media, the government. We should all have the same story. There should not be any sides here. I think most of the times we are adopting a warring position against each other, and we resort to unnecessary blame game. So you see, post 2013, after Rana Plaza, the industry has gone through serious changes. Remediation has been done, structural, fire, electrical safety, and everything has been addressed. It's just that I feel that there's a serious image deficit that the sector is suffering from, and it's time for us to address that. And the only way we can do it is if we can win everybody's confidence. And that confidence cannot be won unless we're doing good, feeling good, and looking good. There's no bar in looking good. I believe that it's time for all of us to come together, address any challenges that we have in terms of labor, be completely transparent about it. In case of any kind of deviation or disruption, we should be open enough to admit that this is happening, and the correct approach should be remediation and not just criticism. Criticism becomes constructive when you yield positive results. So I would like to appeal to international media and national media to come forward and work together with us so that we can together change the narrative. Well, pricing is a critical issue, and we don't want Bangladesh to be labeled as cheapest anymore. We have to be the most competitive and not necessarily cheapest. We have the capacity. No other country has the capacity that we do apart from China. Therefore, we should be in a better negotiating position. We should be able to tell our buyers that since we are giving you the products at a reasonably priced position, we should not be penalized. And that with minimum wages going up and everything, we should be getting our fair price. Unfortunately, Bangladesh is filled with green factories, but there is no green price. So we're planning to do two things. One is form a separate cell within BGMEA, which will offer pricing support to the other members. And number two, we want to set a base price for basic items. That is something that we have to go for. Otherwise, we are unnecessarily engaging in competing against one another. And it's a very unfair competition. And with overcapacities, what's happening is we're taking orders at any price. This has to stop. And this can only be stopped if an organization like BGMEA steps up and says that you cannot export below this level. It's an open market for sure, but there are market realities that we need to address. We want everyone to survive. So if that be the case, a ceiling price has to be set for products. And it's very scientific these days because there are industrial engineers who are basically involved in the process, and we do S&P calculation. Therefore, it shouldn't be very difficult. Sri Lanka has done that. We can easily follow their example as well.
In hindsight, you have been in this industry for decades now. What was the biggest mistake that Bangladesh garment sector made in the past that you think could have been avoided, or was there any?
You see, I represent the industry, and while you develop an industry, there are lots of corrections that are made in the process. So let's not look at it from a very punitive angle. I think every sector makes mistakes and there are failures, but every success is also built upon failures and on the lessons learned. So if that be the case, then everything has happened for the better. Yes, the safety issues could have been standardized earlier. We should have had a self-monitoring platform in the last 6 years, we haven't really been developing that. I think there lies our biggest weakness, that we were not able to form a self-monitoring platform instead of just taking in prescriptions for others. I think that was a colossal mistake that we made. So we have to quickly address it now, and we need to form that next platform whereby we can do self-monitoring and also at the same time ensure a sustainable industry and being regulated by ourselves, because we are the stakeholders. We've put in so much money and effort, and we've invested so much of our energy and emotion into the sector that we need to take care of our industries ourselves. So I think the best way to go forward would be enhanced self-monitoring, enhanced self-awareness about industrial relation between worker and owners, and I think that's the way to go. Well, in garment sector, there is no gender pay gap. The woman and the man gets the same pay. So as far as our industry is concerned, there's no differences at all between what a woman earns and what a man earns. So nationally in other sectors it may have separate impacts, but as far as we are concerned, we have no gender pay gap whatsoever. It's the same. Rather, women enjoy more benefits, including maternity benefits, and more attention. So that doesn't at all, it's not applicable to us.
Do women get the same amount of seats at the table like the men do?
I don't think that's not only about Bangladesh, it's applicable anywhere else in the world. If you look at the gender study that World Economic Forum has recently done, within the 60, America does not even come, whereas Bangladesh is at, I think, 47th position. So gender parity is only, 100% gender parity is only practiced in only 6 countries of the world. So even America is way behind us. So therefore, I don't think that's an issue at all. I think maximum empowerment has been done in the third world, especially in South Asia and especially in Bangladesh, and we are way ahead of many. I mean, in which country will you find 3 million plus women employed in a sector? So RMG is, ready-made garment sector is actually a torchbearer of empowerment. I don't think there's more to be done except for empowering women in the mid-level management, in the top-level management, and of course in the ownership tiers. And that's where we need to work. That's where the concept of the idea of education steps in, and we need to make sure that women are educated better, and so that we can create more female entrepreneurship. And also for the base level workers, they need to be reskilled too. With the 4th industrial revolution right around the corner, we need to rescale them. And if we need to rescale and reskill them, what are the techniques? They don't have the necessary literacy. So this is a challenge that the sector will have, especially with low-end manufacturing workers who will not be able to become overnight coders. So we need to find a way for them. So that's the next challenge. It's people-based, it's people-centric, but at the same time, the stories need to be told in a more elaborate fashion. We don't have the time to reach out. We don't have the means to reach out to the ultimate consumers in Europe or America or any of the new destinations that we're exporting to. So what I was thinking, if we could just add a little barcode in the label, and if we could have a video recording of 3 to 5 or 7 seconds, and in case if that could be conveyed from the worker herself, and if we could just subtitle it quickly, it won't cost us more than 5 to 7 cents. And if the cost could be borne by interested parties, we should be able to tell the stories very fast. Then a consumer could actually buy the product, turn the label, scan the code, and be done with it. And then he or she would know the story of which factory this is coming from. You see, we are not being able to convey our positive stories to the rest of the world. We must find innovative ways of doing it. So this was only one of my thought processes. I've shared it with my colleagues in the industry. I haven't had very favorable feedback because nobody wants to do anything extra anymore. But unless we do this extras, we won't get where we want to get. We will need a collaboration in bilaterals, in inking FTAs, which are of course long term, in innovation. There are lots of startups in Bangladesh which are actually doing good. So if we can have more people, more agencies, more stakeholders partnering with us, then we can push innovation to industry level. So I think we would be open to any kind of collaboration that anybody would propose to us, including governments, agencies, big corporations. I mean, we'd be open to any kind of offer of collaboration, actually. So we're open.
Yeah. Is there anything in the pipeline that you are working on or looking into?
There are fashion schools collaborating with the BGMEA Fashion School. So that's happening already. But of course, if there are universities which are offering research help, for instance, I think there's a big gap between academia and the industry. Therefore, any kind of research help, any kind of R&D support, any kind of design support would always be welcome. We are already in discussion with South Korea, and this is my second day in office, about possible collaboration between South Korean designers and Bangladeshi designers, so that we can take our fashion industry to the next level. So that's also in the pipeline. So we will be open to almost any kind of offer and projects that comes our way.
As the first female president of BGMEA, what do you like to be remembered for? What do you like to be your legacy?
Well, there are three things which are probably unique in my presidency. The first one, actually, I'd be much happier if you acknowledge that I'm the first PhD president of BGMEA. So I'm actually Dr. President. So that gives me a special high. Being a half academic kind of, gives me a lot of hope, because I want to sink in with the real world. And of course, I am in the real world. I am a corporate person, but at the same time, I'm an aspiring academic. So I see a very good synergy there. The second one is, of course, me being a female. I'm not a woman by choice. So, but of course, I'm probably going to be in the pages of history because I became the first female president. So that's second. Number three is, the other history is because my husband also was BGMEA president once. So in the board of BGMEA, there's a board where we write the names down of the BGMEA presidents. I'm extremely honored that my husband's name is there, and from the same family, mine will also be there.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for yours.